Hello, and welcome to our April public webinar. We're just going to give it 1 minute while people are joining before we start. Okay, I'm going to begin with some housekeeping things as we start. My name is Pam Bridge. We are in our monthly Community Legal Services public webinar. Before I introduce our guest speaker, I just want to let you know that we do these every month, the last Thursday of the month. We will in May also. They're about different topics that Community Legal Services practice in. We cannot provide advice during this public webinar, but we can do legal information. You will, so if you have questions about legal information, about what the law says, what it doesn't say, that's fine. Just put it into the Q&A. And we will get to those at the end. However, if you have questions about your specific situation or someone you know, encourage that person yourself to apply for services at CLS, and we'll show you how to do that at the end. Again, we can't help people with their individual situation during this public webinar, but at CLS, we do assist individual people. Let's talk a little bit about CLS before we move on. Next slide. So CLS, we are a not-for-profit law firm. Our goal is to educate, litigate, and advocate on behalf of low-income Arizonans and Arizona's most underserved communities. Next slide. We help people, like I said, individually with individual issues, everything from brief advice to lawsuits, depending on the situation. And we also go out in the public and try to educate the public about their legal rights. We are happy to do these presentations. If you are coming to us from an agency or a group, we can appear in person or in webinars for you. We're always interested in being out in the community, providing information, but also listening to you about what your legal needs are. What questions do you have about the law? What needs to happen to remove barriers to justice for you? Where we are in 5 counties: Maricopa, Yavapai, Mojave, La Paz, and Yuma. We also run a farm worker program throughout the entire state. If you are joining us from another county, don't worry. We have sister organizations that do the same work that we do. To the southeast is Southern Arizona Legal Aid, and to the north is DNA. And both organizations help low-income individuals and basically the same areas. So you can go to their websites to find out how to apply for them, and I'll show you how to apply for services for us at the end of this webinar. Next slide. I'm now going to introduce you to our guest speaker. Amanda Caldwell is our managing attorney of our Yuma office and our farm worker unit. This will probably be Amanda's last webinar, so this is bittersweet for us. Amanda is leaving us to go to Michigan, but she's been a huge advocate for our clients in Arizona and for community legal services, and been a huge asset to us. So we're grateful she could do this one last presentation for us, but sad to see her go. Go ahead, Amanda.
Thanks, Pam, and thank you to everyone who joined us today. I'm here to talk about civil rights restoration and provide you with some information about what you can do if you need to have your civil rights restored. So let's start at the beginning. What are your civil rights, or what rights do you lose when you have a conviction for a felony? The answer is, when you have a felony conviction, you can lose a wide variety of rights, including your right to vote, your right to hold public office, and your right to serve as a juror. Also, your right to possess a firearm. But notwithstanding all of those rights that can be lost, you can also lose rights to professional licenses, funding opportunities from government secured loans, or housing opportunities as a result of your conviction. So if you have a felony and you need your civil rights restored, how do you go about it? In Arizona, civil rights are automatically restored once the person has completed, if someone has one felony conviction, civil rights are automatically restored once the person has completed probation or has received an absolute discharge from the Department of Corrections and has finished paying any victim restitution. That automatic restoration of rights does not occur if you still owe victim restitution. If you have not completed paying victim restitution, you can apply after you do. I'd like to add that if you only have one felony conviction and you are not sure whether it was automatically restored, the courts have a process where you can file an application to make sure that your civil rights have been restored automatically. If you have more than one felony conviction, although your rights may have been restored after your first felony case, any subsequent felony would remove them again, which means you are going to have to file an application if you have more than one felony. And that application can be filed after you've completed probation or after you've received an absolute discharge from the Department of Corrections. You may say, what's an absolute discharge from the Department of Corrections? Well, that is something that you would have received if you would have served time in the Arizona Department of Corrections. If you served any kind of prison sentence, you would have received an absolute discharge at the end of your term. So in Arizona, when you go to apply for restoration of civil rights, you want to apply in the county where you're convicted. If you have a conviction outside of the state of Arizona, Arizona allows you to apply for civil rights restoration in the county where you live. There's no fee to file an application to restore civil rights. It's really important that you include a copy of your certificate of absolute discharge. If you were imprisoned, if you served any time in prison, that you provide that with your application. And then it's also important to note that the process to restore your civil rights does not automatically possess the right to firearm. You would have to either, depending on the application or the jurisdiction where you're applying, the process may be a little bit different and you may have to apply separately. So back to that absolute discharge again that needs to be included with your application. You can get a copy of your certificate of absolute discharge by filling out a form with the Arizona Department of Corrections. Here's a copy of the form on the screen. It's relatively easy. You just need to fill in your name, your ADCRR number, which if you were incarcerated in prison, you would have a number. If you don't remember it, oftentimes you can look it up on the website. You need to provide your address, city, state, zip code, and telephone number. And then you would need to sign it. And these can be emailed in to the department, or you can mail them to the address on the bottom. But I think the easiest way is to email them in. If you have a federal conviction, you would have to visit the clerk's office of where you were convicted in order to try to obtain a certificate of absolute discharge. So maybe you're not sure what happened on your criminal record. In that case, you're allowed to request an Arizona criminal history from the Arizona Department of Public Safety by completing a record review packet. If you complete the record review packet, you'll receive a history which includes all your arrests, charges, and convictions. The packet can be downloaded from the link provided, or you could call this phone number 602-223-2000 and request a copy of the packet. Along with your application for your record review packet, you will need to provide a fingerprint card, a blue fingerprint card, which you can get from most police departments. They have to be taken by a law enforcement agency, and you'll want to check whether your local police department only does this on certain days or whether it's a service that's available every single day before you go. Once you get the fingerprints from the local law enforcement office, it's important to make sure that when you mail it in, that you do not bend the fingerprint card, and also that all of the information on the top of the fingerprint card is filled out. They ask you for your eye color and your height and your weight, a variety of details, and all of those items should be filled in. Once all of that is done, you would mail that to the Arizona Department of Public Safety to request your record review packet. The results will come to you in approximately 2 weeks, give or take, and the information provided in that you can use to verify the accuracy of what's on your background or contest any results on there which you believe may be inaccurate. So now, if you've gone through all those steps, you have your absolute discharge, you've reviewed your record, and you know where you need to apply for civil rights, you will be ready to start an application for civil rights. The applications vary by county or area, but I've included a link here to the self-service forms of the state, and that's always a good place to start. Make sure to read the instructions carefully to avoid any errors in the application. And that is a brief overview of the process of applying for your civil rights. And I think I'm happy to take any questions if anybody has any.
Great. Thank you, Amanda. We will put any questions that you have in the Q&A. Meanwhile, I will tell you, if you would like to apply for services at CLS, you can call us 922, and there's the number. You can apply online at AZ Law Help. Next slide. Or there's a couple places in Maricopa County how you can reach us in person, and each of our rural offices also have options. You should look on our website to see when you can do that. But we are in Peoria, Native Health, at Indian School and Central, and Mesa every week in person. So if you'd like to apply in person in Maricopa, you can do it those days. And also this webinar is recorded, and it will be on our YouTube channel if you would like to watch it again or look at the numbers or any information that's in this. Amanda, I'm not seeing any questions right now.
Okay.
Okay. Thank you so much for doing this. We really, really appreciate you and all of your expertise and this great webinar. Thank you.
All right. Thank you, everybody.